Hey there, and welcome to our Evergoods Civic Access Sling 1-liter review. Here at No Imagination, we have been reviewing the world's best EDC and travel gear for almost 7 years. And in this video, I'm gonna show you everything you need to know about this sling. We're gonna pack it out, double check its advertised capacity. I'm gonna give you my brutally honest pros and cons and overall scores. And you're definitely gonna wanna stick around to the end of the video because I'll make 2 alternative sling recommendations in case you're not quite feeling the CAS1. Let's jump into it. Let's talk about the gist of the Evergoods Civic Access Sling 1. For those who don't know, Evergoods is an absolute Goliath in the world of carry. And what they're known for is their signature crossover aesthetic and functionality. And what that means is their bags look good in a boardroom, but also would not look out of place on a trail. And they also function in a similar way as well. Outdoors, hiking, travel, work bag, it can just kind of do everything. And this is now the new little brother to their absolutely legendary sling, the original CAS2, which I have right here. We've done many reviews on the Evergoods Civic Access 2 sling, older versions, newer versions. We should have linked that above. And you can see just the size differences between the 1-liter, the new guy here, and the original 2-liter. And speaking of the differences, let me just run you through them real fast. So obviously the size, the 1-liter is gonna be a bit smaller, 2-liter got a bit more girth to it. But fundamentally, these designs are actually just quite different, where you can see 2-liter has this large zippered opening in the front, versus the 1-liter, the zippered opening into the main compartment is via the top. Now notice on the 1-liter, we have a bit more internal organization versus the 2-liter, there's none in the main compartment. And that's because of another big design difference between the 2 sizes, where the 2-liter had this zipped pocket in the back. It's got some internal lining pockets and some extra zip pockets here. But with the 1-liter, you'll notice there's no back pocket. There's no any other pockets. You're just getting this main compartment. So that's why we have this divider in here with some zippered organization. But aside from that, that's about it, guys. The harness systems are extremely similar. Materials also the same. We got the same zipper pulls, same fabrics. It's really just gonna come down to 2 key differences, the smaller size and the fact that everything is in a single compartment, which is going to not be everyone's cup of tea. A lot of people like multiple compartments in their slings to give you additional organization. I'll talk about that a bit more in detail when we pack the sling out. Now let's do a quick volume check for the CAS1. Now in my experience with Evergoods, their capacity claims are pretty spot on. This one's super easy, loading up the main compartment with our factory grade measurement balls. Now that the bag's fully packed out, let's do a dimension check. We got a height of around just under 4 inches, a width of 12 inches, and a fully packed out depth of around 4 inches as well. And while I got the tape measure out, let's do a little bit of a shoulder strap length edge. At its longest, we're looking at around 39 inches, and at its shortest, we're at about 21 inches. Now back to the volume. Per the usual, Evergoods, smack dab on the nose, as this sling is in fact 1-liter capacity on the dot. Now, Evergoods bags do have a tendency to be a bit on the heavier side. This sling is coming in at just under half a pound, which I think for a 1-liter sling is perfectly fine. Now, as of recording, the CAS1 is coming in 2 color options. You've got the black and the green. This is what the sling looks like when it's empty. And here you can see it fully packed out and worn on the nomization team. Now, all Evergoods bags are protected by a lifetime warranty against manufacturing defects. And for all that, this sling currently costs around 75 USD. Now, if at any point during this review, you're thinking about picking one of these slings up, we do recommend doing so with the first link in the description, as that link makes sure that you get the best price, and if we have any discount codes, that's where you'll find them. Next up, let's talk about the materials of the Evergoods CAS1. Now, for this primary fabric, we are looking at an 840D ballistic nylon, which is good news because it's one of the best fabrics you can make a bag out of. It's abrasion resistant, it looks just very sexy. And it's gonna give you a bit of weather resistance as well. Not much, but a bit. And it's actually gonna give you a bit more because Evergoods does give some sort of DWR treatment on their nylon. But keep in mind with any treatment like that, it is basically a spray and that spray will die down over time. So it's a short-term solution. The interior is a 210D nylon, which is a good denier. It's gonna be just super durable on the inside. And you can see Evergoods is utilizing a very nice light gray, which gives the inside a little bit of a high-vis effect. For the zippers, we are looking at YKK, best in the game, definitely what you want at this price point. And for the hardware, we are looking at Duraflex. And all these are like the brands that are the cream of the crop when it comes to backpack materials. I do admit, like the fabric itself, it would be nice if it was a name brand like a Cordura or a Codra. Evergoods does not subscribe to that. This is not a Cordura ballistic nylon. That'd be so cool if it was. But having said that, you know, does it need to be Cordura at this price point? Not necessarily. I have reviewed dozens of Evergoods bags, and I've read long-term reviews from other users on their bags as well, and this fabric just holds up. It's a very, very good ballistic nylon, even though it's not Cordura. So when it comes to the quality of materials on this bag, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. At the price point, a name brand fabric would have been nice. But aside from that, it's hard to complain. I mean, this thing is just decked out with the finest materials in all the lands, and it's going to stand the test of time because of that. And just one note on all these scores is that they are personal, just based on my experience from using this bag. All right, next section, let's actually pack out the Evergoods CAS1. Now, the thing with a 1 liter sling is you gotta keep in mind, it's not a huge bag. This is the type of bag that I call a pocket reliever, or sometimes referred to as a pocket dump. You're not gonna fit a water bottle in here. Even this water bottle, it's a bit smaller. It's a 24-ounce Columbia, and that's just gonna be a no-go, dog. That's not gonna happen. What you are gonna wanna fit in this sling is a snack for your day trip. This is a passport-sized notebook. It fits perfectly in this back sleeve. Throw some backup cables in the zippered pocket. The zippered pocket too has a little bit of extra organization, but for me it's a little bit tight in there with the fact that it's just a small pocket in general, so I'm not gonna use those interior pockets for nothing. Go ahead and put the keys on the key leash, tissues, wallet. I'll go ahead and throw a pen in there as well, and that's about it, guys. This is your 1 liter sling in all of its glory, fully packed out. And just quickly, I wanna do a couple more fit checks for other common items that are a little bit larger and bulkier, because they're gonna be some close calls. So you can see your typical hard shell sunglasses case does indeed fit. Big old charging brick for your laptop, also can squeeze in there. Travel adapter, definitely good to go. Back sleeve Kindle, close. That's a no-go. So if you're looking to fit a standard size Kindle, that indeed will not close. Same thing with your typical size novel. That's just going to be too big for the CAS1. Okay, so now that the sling is fully packed out, let's talk about the comfort. Now, my experience with Evergoods slings with the CAS2 is that it's very comfortable with a caveat. But before I explain that caveat, let me explain also one of the best parts about the Evergoods slings, and that's that it can be worn both as a sling, but also as a waist pack. And that is due to the entire construction of the harness system. Now you see right here on the CAS2, and even more so on the CAS1, notice how the harness system points directly out, horizontal as such. Now, a true crossbody sling that sits in the chest might have a different harness system. Think like the rework Toshi, where you can actually change the angles that the strap is attached to, which then makes it sit on your torso a lot better. So because of this design though, it sits in the torso nicely, but you sometimes get a little bit of a gap right here where the sling is pushing out a little bit. Less so with the 1 liter though. More pronounced and like noticeable with the 2 liter. But because this is so small, it works in the body very nicely, fits in the front chest, can slide it over to the back. But you do just kind of get like a little bit of this gappage right here. It's not the perfect flush crossbody that, you know, some of us bag reviewers have gotten used to and really, really appreciate. But here's the flip side of that, is when the shoulder strap is on an angle, it can fit the chest better, but then it cannot be worn in hip belt fanny pack mode, which this one can very nicely. And also you can see with the thicker webbing, actually. So this thicker webbing, you can see in CM, we're at 4 on the dot, is gonna make for a more comfortable chest wear, but also it just makes it work as a fanny pack so much better. In fanny mode, extremely comfortable, not the coolest. Like, I'm not saying I look dope right now. I'm not saying I look fly. I'm not saying I'd go to my first hot date rocking this thing, but it feels great. It definitely does. Like when you're doing like the fanny swing like this, like it's just, it is locked in. Back panel gives you a little bit of ventilation. You can see we got these cuts right here. It's not gonna do much, guys, but it does help ever so slightly. And remember, it's just a little bit of real estate here, so it's not gonna be like just plastered to your body, especially not the way that like a larger backpack would be. And the nylon webbing itself is super silky, very comfortable, but some people don't love that because it does end up making the sling slightly more slippery. Sometimes a more grippy nylon webbing is gonna be more coarse and therefore less kind of luxurious, but it's gonna stay much more secure on your chest. But one thing I dislike about the CAS1 and the CAS2 is how the excess nylon webbing is handled. You can see right here, you've got all this excess nylon, and then you got this little elastic guy right here, and Evergoods is like, dude, all you do is you just roll this guy into itself, and then just kinda do one of these. And it's like, it's fine. And it's interesting, and it's different, and I haven't seen any other sling quite designed in that way, and it totally works-ish. You can see that we don't have a long nylon webbing anymore, but what we do have is sort of like a dingleberry situation. It's like this little dreadlock at the end of your sling, and you can wrap it tighter, right? And I'm being a little dramatic, I understand that, but just one of those things when I've worn Evergoods slings, the CAS2 in the past, and testing this one out, it's just not my favorite thing. It just kind of gets in the way a little bit. Now for my overall score for comfort, I'm gonna give this sling a 4 out of 5. It's small, so like that makes it comfortable in itself. The fact that it can double up as a sling and as a waist pack very nicely is great. It's 2 thumbs up. I just think that the dangle management system and maybe a little like kind of gappage going on here aren't my personal favorites, but overall a very comfortable sling. Now before I jump into the next section, real fast, if you're enjoying this review, then you might be a little bit of a gearhead, or at least, you know, you like bags, maybe travel and everyday carry. And if that's the case, I again want to welcome you to Nomads Nation, and also let you know that here at NN, we don't just do reviews on our YouTube channel, but we also have the Nomads Nation newsletter. And in that newsletter, I take this whole gear, you know, review thing to the next level, where I'm gonna deliver to your inbox on a weekly basis everything that's happening in this incredible industry. I'm talking the newest drops, limited edition releases, industry trends, and everything in between. So if you want to keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening in this amazing community, be sure to look for this globe emoji linked in the description below. I hope to see you in your inbox. Okay, let's talk about the functionality of the Civic Access Sling 1 liter. When you tie it all together, fully packed out, really honing in on the comfort, that's what Evergoods does best, is functionality. Like if you look at their bags, they're sort of just like wizards in their ability to create functionality in a product that still looks good. Because there's a lot of other functional bag brands out there who can make a masterpiece of functionality, but you're like, I just don't want to wear it because it doesn't look cool. Everything is very accessible. Zippers open very easily. The simplicity of this main compartment is going to be a make or a break for some people. For me, given the size, I think it's totally fine. Maybe one extra pocket or sleeve wouldn't have hurt. Keys are very accessible. I do find myself missing having that back pocket or that front pocket. I get why they didn't put a front pocket in there, but if they could have snuck a back pocket onto this back panel, just giving a little bit more organization, I think that it would have taken the sling to the next level. We've got this buckle system right here, allowing you to easily take the sling off and to snap it back on. Some people can be concerned that hardware such as this might make the sling a bit more of a theft magnet, but I do think it's a little bit safer here in the front as opposed to directly on the back where, you know, it's just easy to pop it off. And just to give the fanny pack mode some love, also works very nicely, very easy to access. That zipper is lightning fast. One day I will convert into a fanny pack person. I'm not quite there yet, but God, I get it. This is nuts how amazingly cool this feels. Maybe not in the looks department as much, but damn, this is awesome. So for my functionality score, this is just me assessing how it functions as the bag's designed, and I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. The single compartment just has a really nice beefiness to it, and although I do kind of miss a front and a back compartment, not having those compartments is making the main compartment so much more roomy and breathable, and like, I can fit more in here than I feel like I can fit on some 2-liter slings. So as long as the lack of organization is not a deal breaker for you, I think this sling is just incredibly functional. I think that it functions slightly better as a fanny pack. I think the single opening sort of works just better with fanny pack mode than it does sling mode. But this is why we're always consistently recommending the CAS2, because it is one of the few slings that can do both extremely well. Moving on, let's talk about the overall pros and cons of the Evergoods CAS2. Pro number 1 is going to be all the high quality materials that Evergoods always includes in their bags. Pro number 2 will be the amazingly roomy capacity in the main compartment. And pro number 3 is the fact that the CAS1 and the CAS2 works really, really well as both a sling and a fanny pack. But on the flip side, all bags have cons. Here are mine. Con number 1 for many people will be a lack of additional organization. This thing's just got one compartment. Con number 2 for me personally is I'm not the biggest fan of the dangle management system. And con number 3 for me is just the lack of a back pocket. I know this real estate's a little small, but even if they just put a sleeve back there with a little like magnetic closure, just something to give me a little bit extra quick access to for those times when I really need it, I would like that. Now let's wrap this up by talking about my final scores. So looking at the scores prior, we gave the CAS1 a 4 out of 5 when it comes to materials, a 4 out of 5 with comfort, a 4 out of 5 with functionality, and a 3.5 out of 5 with value, for an overall score of 3.87 out of 5, which is overall right where I want the sling to be, where I'd personally give it a score of like a 4 out of 5. Obviously, if you follow this channel, you'll know this is a little bit different. We're trying something new. So please let us know in the comments below if you like this new scoring system, if it all makes sense to you, if you got any suggestions for improvements. Let me know below. Moving on, let's talk about the alternatives to the Evergoods CAS1. First up, if you are new to the Nomads Nation YouTube channel, you should definitely check out our leaderboard rankings video. In this video, myself and the rest of the Nomads Nation team, we get together and pick our favorite bags in different bag categories. And it's the absolute best way to see what the best options are on the market, Slings included. I've gone ahead and linked that above. Also, in case you're not aware, here at Nomads Nation, after reviewing hundreds of the world's best bags, I decided to take on the challenge of actually building my own bag brand. And that brand is called Firo. And Firo is basically me taking all the lessons that I've learned of reviewing hundreds of the world's best bags, but bringing it together in the mission of making gear to help modern professionals stay streamlined and focused. We got an EDC, we got a travel bag, we have a very sexy sling, and you can learn more about all those bags and Firo in general at firo.co or with the second link in the description below. But if we are really close with the CAS1, here are two alternative slings that might get you a little bit closer. First alternative is the Able Carry Core Sling, and especially the Mini. This is a great pick for you if you like the size and kind of the general silhouette of the Evergoods CAS1, but you want more organization, as the Mini version actually has two primary compartments. And my second alternative suggestion will be the Alpaca Flight Sling 1 liter. Great pick for you if you like this size, but you also just kind of want to see it done a little bit differently. I think the Able Carry and the Evergoods have pretty similar shapes, but Alpaca took a different direction with their 1 liter, and it gives it a different functionality, a different aesthetic, and honestly, it's just a really awesome sling. Truth be told, all three slings are great. You just got to pick which is best for you. And to learn more about the two alternatives, just go ahead and watch these videos right here. If you got any questions, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Aaron, this is Nomads Nation, and we'll catch you next time.